All right, we are live. We're live.
What's going on?
Yeah, still trying to get it together here. You see, I'm not at my headquarters, and I don't even see our. I guess our names are not listed on there. Huh? I don't know, but
The show
anyways,
must go on.
I know because I know the
Where you
fans will
at?
be filing in. I'm not at my headquarters. I'm at an undisclosed location.
I got you.
So,
I got you.
but you know, I don't get paid anything to be here, just like you. So we're here for the fans because we're our fans of coach
Yes.
football. And looking outside, I am at a hotel room, but
Is it raining up there?
it is raining down here. I'm down toward the coast on the 17th floor. So yes, it's raining. It's a nice view, but you know, hopefully it may not be raining like in Hattiesburg where George County is. But
I looked earlier. It looks like the rain's supposed to push out of here around 7:30. So probably around kickoff time. It'd be nice. It's going to be humid, but wet fields and turf. Oof. There's going to be some people sliding.
yes, and the uniforms get wet, and then the ball
Mm-hmm.
gets wet. So, but as the fans come in here, please post your questions. Uh, Show us that you are there, and if you have any questions about tonight's games, I don't have, since I'm not at the headquarters, I don't have all access to the stats that I would like. I don't even have last week's. I thought I printed it off. I did bring paperwork with me. Last week's scores. I don't have last week's scores, but I will run off tonight's games. 9 teams. 9 teams are off, getting ready for region play next week for majority of the classes. But the 9 teams that are off is Pascagoula, Gulfport, Ocean Springs, Van Cleve, Biloxi, West Harrison, East Central, St. Martin, and Pearl River Central. So there's
First
Mike.
question. First
Yes, sir.
question of the night. Which team needed the buy the most? Of all the teams that are off right now, which team needed the biggest buy?
Which team exact? I mean, man, that's quite a few. Quite a
Ocean
few
Springs.
teams.
I'm saying
Ocean
Ocean Springs,
Springs.
man. That if I had to go with one team that I'm just completely still surprised about, would be OS.
Well, I mean, you also look at Gulfport, who, again, they didn't score at all against Brandon at home,
Yeah,
and they got that bad taste in their mouth. And so, as far
but they had
as
5 turnovers. I remember Boz saying they had 5 turnovers and they scored. They scored on off of all 5 turnovers.
yeah, Brandon is number second team
Mm-hmm.
in the state according to Max Preps. So as far as injury wise, I mean, you know that's we're not a divvy to who's injured as far as we know some big names like Deuce with
Like,
George
dude,
County. He's been
did
out for
anybody
several
find out if
weeks.
is he playing tonight?
The only no, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in contact with the team. Of course, Coach Ray after last week's win at Wayne County said we look to get him back this week. That doesn't
That'll be
mean
good.
now. I still predicted the score as if Deuce is playing, but it's a non-region game and it's a hamstring injury, and it can
And
be
it's raining.
yeah. So he may not play. It's a non-region game against Hattiesburg, who's undefeated. They're ranked, I think, fourth in the state
Ooh, and
overall.
they're cold. They are, man. They're the 6A that's battling against the 7As and say or the 5A. They're a 5A. I'm sorry.
And it's
And
just uh, odd that their quarterback is named Deuce, and
mhm.
he's left-handed. And so battle the deuces, as I put it. And I do have Hattiesburg winning that game. Jason, let me run down the games. I told you the 9 teams who are off. The 13 games that are being played tonight. Some of them are region games, but these are non-region games. Picayune at Petal, Columbia at Gaucher, Wayne County at D'Iberville, George County at Hattiesburg, Harrison Central at Meridian. We have Hancock at Florence, Long Beach at South Jones, St. Stanislaus at Stone, and Bay at Presbyterian Christian, which is PCB as they call them. For region play, all the teams are tied for first place tonight in region play in 4A. Region 8, Poplarville at Moss Point, Greene County at Pass Christian. In 3A, Region 8, St. Patrick at Perry Central. And 1A, Region 8 is Salem, who is 0-5, I believe. I looked it up. I think they're on like a 50-game losing streak.
I think I was talking with you about that the other day. That just blew my mind.
Yes, at Resurrection. So we don't have a team in 2A. We don't have a team in 2A.
Well, the last few years we've had some long losing streaks broken. I mean, St. Martin broke theirs this year. Long Beach broke theirs last year. There was I know Van Cleve broke a big road losing streak. It was like 8 or 9 games, wasn't it? I mean, there's been some long streaks broken over the last few years. So hopefully somebody else can break. That's a heck of a streak to beat.
Yeah, 50. And I have the website on my phone. I can't, but it does list the longest. That is not the longest in the state ever. There is a list of what that is. So we got some comments. Let me see. Mike Sigma, if I'm saying it right. Stone, their first home game tonight will face St. Stanislaus in a non-region game. Rocketals winning last week at home against Mobile Christian, which I got that game wrong. They're the defending state champions, but that's, a lot could happen from last year to this year as far as Mobile Christian. Stone losing at Quitman last week. I got that pick correct, even though it was very close. Quitman was able to pull it off there at home. So Stone they're 1-3. So the first 4 games on the road will get their home game tonight against St. Stanislaus in a non-region game. Again, Picayune. So we'll go over, let me see, what other question? Let me see. I'm going to get all these fans. Gaucher, yes, Gaucher is hosting Columbia, who's 3-2. Gaucher's 3-1. They have a 14-game home winning streak. That goes back, of course, a few seasons.
Yes.
And so I have Gaucher winning that game. We'll go over that. Meridian they're hosting Harrison Central. Harrison Central lost last week to Mendenhall. Kind of surprising. So we'll see at Meridian there tonight. And then, of course, Dexter with the Gaucher, most certainly there. So the Coast Top 10 we'll run over real quick that I posted on Tuesday. Again, 6 voters, including myself, vote. And then the strength of schedule is there, tied for 10th. West Harrison, it was just outside the top 10. Their strength of schedule is not that great. Unfortunately, they beat Moss Point. It's just not. They haven't beat teams. They beat teams across from them, but the teams across from them are having not a good season. But they made enough noise where the voters put them in, tied for 10th with Biloxi. Biloxi losing last week at Pascagoula. Pretty big there. Very surprised, at least I was. Pascagoula's probably not surprised. The Panthers, who are off this week. You're Van Cleve. Of course, you're at Van Cleve, Jason. They got the win. And anytime you go on the road to win, at Hancock. I know Hancock is not the same Hancock as seasons past.
Yeah, and Van Cleve's not a good road team.
Yeah, like I said, they stopped that road losing streak, which, again, I'm not in the headquarters. I don't have it, what it was. You can check on the Facebook page. But Van Cleve moved up to 9th. Ocean Springs stayed at 8th. They lost that close one. They're at home against Picayune. Still the hardest strength to schedule, and they did win the one game. George County moved up a couple spots with their win at Wayne County with their backup quarterback. D'Iberville ranked number 6. They stayed the same because they were off last week. Gaucher dropped to 5th. They were off last week. Gulfport was the number 1 team. And according to Max Preps, they have them as the number 1 team because of the strength of schedule for the Admirals. But when you get shut out at home, true, it was against the second-ranked team in the state in Brandon, you're not going to stay number 1, and the voters unanimously did not vote them number 1. They're still 4th, and I still, again, say they're going to win the region. Poplarville moved up, dropped from 2nd to 3rd. They lost to West Jones at West Jones 10-7. And if not mistaken, I know we talked about it. I believe West Jones has been without their starting quarterback.
Yes,
which makes a difference. I know
and Poplarville was without Tristan Keys, but and when players are out, somebody's got to step up. There's other kids that are talented on the field. Are they 4-star running backs like Tristan Keys? No. Can they be? Sure. I mean, look at Dylan Alford 2 years ago. He was playing JV. He went in one game and just went unbelievable. And I mean, I looked at his stats, what Dylan Alper's doing this year, and somebody gave him an opportunity, and he shined on it.
Oh yeah,
And you just never know when who's going to be your next guy.
It is. I divert a little bit because I was listening to 228 Sports podcast who had Coach Feaster on there, and he talked about injuries. He's missing 3 defensive linemen, but in that case, it has opportunity for others to get reps, for others to get better. So again, in the case of Keys, in case of Deuce Knight, the players, that we know that are hurt, there's a lot of players that are hurt. We just don't know them all. Poplarville still looks to be region chip. They still look to go deep. I look for them possibly, to go back to state and hopefully get that state championship. So they are ranked number 3. Pascagoula did move up with that shellacking of Biloxi. I believe it was 40-something-3 is what it was. I watched.
And just think they held Hattiesburg to 15 points.
Yes, I don't know. Biloxi again needed a week off. They're off this week to prepare for next week against hosting Gulfport in their region game. And the number 1 team, Picayune, we have them back at number 1. Again, it's strength of schedule. It's a matter of who you beat, where you beat them at home, on the road, how you beat them. And we try to give the most accurate count. I mean, we can go with Max Preps. They just go strictly strength of schedule again, and they start the teams off where they finished last week. So we just try to give the best rankings that we can, and we certainly appreciate everybody posting on Tuesday to give their opinions. We talked about it earlier. If you're going to post this team shouldn't be ranked this location, then come out and say where you think they should be ranked at. I mean, give your opinion instead of no, this is a clown poll, or this team should be number 1. And well, post your top 5. Post your top 5. Our poll is not the end all be all, as I wrote
exactly.
There. So it's the only poll that I know. We rank all 24 teams. I could tell you St. Stanislaus is ranked 15th. They will play at Stone, who's ranked 14th. We rank all the teams. We just put them 10th. So let me see if Brian Norton. We like our fans here. Certainly like them as they're preparing to go to the games. Brian Norton said, Jason Phillip hit the weight room. Look at it. He must be hitting the weight room with those guns. There you go. So, yes. So, and then Tony Peters there, of course, Keys. That's when, they start tonight as far as the region game with Poplarville. But they are playing at Moss Point, who's struggling, who hasn't won this year, 0-5.
How long has Keys been out?
Almost. I don't know. Maybe Tony can almost like.
So my thing is this. My thing is this. Take Solomon Baggett. Been out with you take the linebacker from Laurel that hurt his arm. You take somebody like a Tristan Keys. I mean, you took Sherrod Whitehead last year. When those kind of guys get those type of injuries, you don't just come back. It's not just, hey, my leg's better. I mean, it takes 3 games to get game ready. Yeah, I mean, your first game you're playing, you're playing very limited. But the way that these guys have to run, the Solomons, the Tristan Keys, the Sherrod Whiteheads, their ability to move and shift is what makes them amazing. And of course, their speed. But when you don't have it and you're not used to it, and you worry about it because you don't want it to happen again, you're not going to come through the same way. That's why when you tear an ACL, you're out for the season. You can't come back. I mean, they remember Aaron Rodgers tried to come back from the Achilles injury. That wasn't happening. He wasn't going to come back. I don't care who you are. So it takes a while, and hopefully Tristan can come back and be able to come back 100. But it's definitely going to take. It's going to take several games for them to even get their game speed back.
It is, and that's why, like I said, with Keys, not coming back, he had a collarbone, if not mistaken. I believe it was very early in the season. Again, there's injuries up and down on every team in the state. Some more with key players than not. So again, we'll see if Deuce plays tonight up in Hattiesburg, with George County. As far as some of the, again, post your questions. Oh, okay. So he is. I knew Tony Peters will come through the whole season. He got hurt before the season started. He had an injury like the running back from Picayune last season. So
okay, and I don't know if you remember last year, Van Cleve had Asher Henley, which was their senior wide receiver. He was their one, and he broke his collarbone in practice. He was out for the season, and that we hadn't even started playing ball. So collarbones, that makes a lot of sense that, now, he's been out for quite some time. He hasn't even played this year. So,
yeah, like I say, they're at Moss Point, and somebody posted earlier, as I don't know. Somebody was calling, but anyways, but I was saying they're at Moss Point. Somebody earlier posted when I posted the predictions or that they're saying we think we're playing at Poplarville, which I checked 2 places and it shows the game is at Moss Point. So I would think I would have more people saying no, the game's at Poplarville. But so that way maybe Keys he's just not ready. But I still feel the Hornets. Even though some of the fans may think that I don't. Again, when we're voting, hey, put Poplarville. Their strength of schedule is not the greatest. They just played West Jones. Yes, who's 5-0, but you take West Jones out, and the teams they played are like 3-12 or 3-14, and they won by 2 or 3 points. But a win is a win. But voters look at that. Can they? Again, can they beat Picayune? It'll be a good contest, especially on a neutral field. But we won't see that. And hopefully they'll get back to playing each other, Picayune and Poplarville. So we want all coast teams to win. At least
yes.
I do. I know you're obviously Van Cleve, and Van Cleve's off this week, and they play a big game. Not to look ahead next week. They're hosting Gaucher, which may be for I say the region title. It's game 1 of the region for them, but
yes, big game for both sides.
Other teams that are in there. With Laurel struggling, and we'll see how Laurel does there, or defending region champs. We'll see what Van Cleve can do as they host Gaucher. Gaucher plays tonight, so that they were off last week, so they'll play tonight hosting Columbia, and we shall see again next year. The schedules will change for those who don't know it. Every 2 years, they kind of lock in. This is the schedule because you hear Coach Dubas from Biloxi saying, well, we didn't make several coaches. New coaches said we didn't make the schedule for us this year. So next year they can do what they want with the, of course, non-region schedule. The region schedules are set on where you play, on who you play. So we can run, and like I say, 5:45. I know, like I say, let me know when you have to leave, Jason, to go what you have to do. And again, I won't be able to be on. I'll retweet a lot of stuff and then I'll share stuff on Facebook. But unfortunately, I had a prior commitment. It usually comes up this time of year. Again, 9 teams off, but again, we have 13 games being played tonight, and several of them are again region games. But I'm going to
that the Iberville game. That the Iberville game's a homecoming game.
It is homecoming against.
So that's going to be who are they playing again?
Wayne County. They're hosting Wayne County. So
Wayne County's been struggling this year, so.
They are. We'll go over, and you can check my predictions out. Make your predictions under my predictions for the fans out there. Wayne County at the Iberville. It's the third game just between them. They played in 2020 and then last year. When last year, of course, the Warriors beat them 64-32. Iberville just their second home game. They were off last week. They did win their first home game against Columbia. The War Eagles, as they're called, Wayne County War Eagles, they have a 5-game road losing streak. That, of course, goes back to last year. The Warriors are 3-0 when they're coming off of a bye. So since 2019, I do have the Warriors winning 42-19. I don't know how you feel about that, or what your thoughts on that game in particular, Jason.
I know Wayne County's been struggling this year, and Iberville's kind of, it's almost kind of like, it's like Biloxi, Pascagoula, and Iberville can't. They have these phenomenal games, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what just happened?
Yeah, well, I know you.
So like it's been this has been a very exciting non-district season. It is definitely. It's even had you baffled a little bit, but it's been a lot of rain. We've last year I don't think we had a lot of rain games. This year we have when we played Gulfport. I mean, everybody on the coast played in the rain. So there's a good chance that there's going to be some rain lingering going into tonight's game. But with that being said, the fields are still going to be wet. It's still not going to be, it's not going to be out there like, a perfect field where, if you throw the ball and it gets wet, I mean, everything changes. Your gloves change, the way you carry the ball, you're slipping. I mean, it's even the best players are going to make mistakes tonight, especially on a wet field. So it's definitely another toss-up, I think, as far as, I love the surprises. I'm a Georgia fan. When we went up by that, few points, I was excited to a point, but we weren't the better team. And the better team ended up coming back. So I like an upset. And to me, Alabama upset at Georgia. But, there's been several good upsets this year. And I like it. I like good football. You just never know. Never know on Friday.
Look at PRC. Again, not patting myself on the back, but I picked them last week to end the streak at Long Beach. And, now they have the week off. Now they have the week off, and they will play at on the road next week. That is Pearl River Central at Forest Hill. That boils down to be a playoff spot, because of the teams in that region. The other teams they have 5 teams in the region. And for the fans who know or don't know, no matter how many teams you have in your region, when I was 7A, they've gone to 6 teams in a region. But if you have 6 teams, 5 teams, 4 teams in each class, each region make the playoffs. So just because you have 5 teams in it, 4 will make the playoffs. And that's why we said PRC at Forest Hill is for a playoff spot, just given the other 3 teams in that region, which I believe it is going to be Hattiesburg, West Jones. They're undefeated, West Jones, and I believe the other one. Again, I apologize, I'm not at the house to give the stats there for that stat. So PRC, a nice win last week. Again, you can go to 228 Sports and listen to the Coach Feaster with his interview. They'll be off again this week. And then Talking Ball, y'all, of course, Clay Sweet there. They're getting ready. They're up at Petal here tonight. And Peters.
I tell you what, Petal's been on it.
Petal, they've played. In fact,
what coast team you think can play for South State from 6A to 7A? Picayune. Pascagoula healthy. I think Pascagoula can. I mean, here's the thing. Tyler Wilson's got to play both sides of the ball. He's the Travis Hunter of the coast. I think he's got 4 interceptions. I want to say I know he's got at least 2 receiving touchdowns. So, I mean, if that's your weapon, I mean, they lost Jalen. And I mean, that was a huge blow to them. Jalen Parnell, he was that 4-star linebacker. And, so, I mean, that was a huge loss for them, but, they can score. They can I don't ever hear nothing about a running back. I'm not sure who their running back is this year.
I know they got a wide receiver, Action Jackson, as they call him. But, of course, Silas Quarter's there, and then they did lose
and they got Duke. Duke's a great receiver.
And they got a decent kicker, left-footed kicker. So Pascagoula, I keep saying they're the real deal, and they're going to go deep, and they look to win the region. But now I'm, again, not to look ahead of next week. They're off this week, and they go to Picayune next week. So Picayune, a tough place to win at. I know Gulfport did win there, and does Pascagoula. Now they have 2 weeks to prepare, against Picayune. Are they similar to Gulfport's offense? They have the quarterback there to spread offense, who beat Picayune. So I don't know what I'm picking. And even though I've said it for weeks, that Pascagoula is a real deal. They're going to win the region, and then yet I pick against them against Diouville, and I pick against them against Biloxi. So I'm going to go 3 times and pick against them at Picayune. You have to find out next Thursday.
What do you think? Do you think George County got it?
George County, if Deuce,
healthy.
Back, yes, Deuce. I said they were going deep in the playoffs. Also, they're also in the same region. Picayune, George County, Pascagoula.
Yes.
So any of those teams, I think, is the real deal to go to state. And with Deuce was healthy. Yes, and then if he can come back, which he will come back again.
But when Deuce was healthy, he was a top 3 quarterback as far as stats. I mean, we know what he is as far as I'm talking about what you're doing with your team. But he had 3 top 10 receivers.
Yes, he has Moody there. I mean, I know their offensive line, kind of is maybe not the strongest as he does, at the scrim all around there a bit. But I mean, we'll see tonight against Hattiesburg. I mean, I have them not winning at Hattiesburg. They're 5-0, even with Deuce playing.
Are they playing in Hattiesburg?
Yes. So maybe it's not raining up there. But
they had that issue last year, and both teams are issued warnings Hopefully
Yeah,
they
but
can keep it. They can keep everything right out of the gate. Just look. We come to play ball. Whatever happens, let it happen. It's fated to
yeah,
happen. So
that
just
was
let it be
in
what it's going to be. We all go home safe.
that was in overtime that they won. Let me see here. I was going to get the sheet out to show you, or to say George County. Let me run over that game here real quick. With the Hattiesburg leads the series 3-1. They won last year. So Hattiesburg won last year in George County in overtime. So second of 3 straight road games for George County. They are 2-0 currently on the road. Hattiesburg first home game after 3 straight road games. The Rebels, George County on a 5-game road winning streak. Tigers are 2-0 at home. Again, the Rebels are ranked 60th in the state by Max Preps, but who does, again, just strength of schedule. They don't really do anything else. Tigers ranked 6th in the nation and state. And I have Hattiesburg winning 42-26. Can George County win? Obviously, yes, they can win, especially with Deuce playing. And if Deuce isn't playing, of course, the chances go down when you're missing the number 1
Oh, of
team there
course.
in the quarterback. But with Tony Peters, to get back to him, as far as 6A, we have a bunch of strong 6A teams, as we just mentioned, from George County to Picayune, Pascagoula. As far as 7A, I came up, I had the stat I mentioned over the last few weeks that since 2015, I just picked 2015, the biggest class, because we just went to 7A, so it was 6A then, we just went to 7A, 36 games since 2015 that a big school, biggest schools have played in playoffs. They have won 6 of 36 games since 2015, which is not good. They've gotten swept 3 times, I believe. Again, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but you're asking, Tony, can a team, from the South? I certainly hope so. 6A has a better shot. 7A, if they can pull it together here in these region games, I still think that Gulfport has a great shot. Even, Ocean Springs, D'Iberville, is playing. I know they lost to Pascagoula, but D'Iberville has a new wrinkle in their offense, and their new defensive coordinator is there.
To me, the only team that's really even put up any 7-8. I mean, Ocean Springs has fought every game. They're not, they're not there getting blown out. But I mean, the only win they have is on the road and against Natchez, and Hancock put up 50 on them. So I mean, I don't take nothing away from a win's a win, but when you play the big teams and you want to be you want to get in there and you want that strength of schedule to showcase and where you think you're going to be going into district. I mean, Connor White just started crawling up in the rankings as far as statistics with at quarterback.
Yeah, because they have 2 quarterbacks there they've been using. So are they going to?
Well, I think they went back just to Connor.
Okay, I mean, I did watch that game somewhat last week because I was watching 4 or 5 games, but I thought I saw the other quarterback in there. Who was that? Is that his name? Chopper?
Yeah, Sherrod.
Left-handed Sherrard. They are solo.
The lefty is Connor. The left-handed one is Connor White. The right-handed one that's Sherrod. Okay. But my thing is Will Smith. Where's he at? Last year he had 2,000 rushing yards, and I don't know if you've got his stats up right now, but it's definitely been. And he's a senior. He's a absolute monster. I mean, that guy's just to run for 2,000 yards in 7A. That's pretty impressive.
It is that to make the record book, you got to run for 2,000 yards. And again, I'm not at my headquarters, so I don't have all the information in front of me. But I want to say touchdown Tony Brown. I want to say has the record for most rushing yards. You can scroll the timeline or the pictures, go to the Facebook page at Gulf Coast High School Football and see the record book. I will post the record book at the end of the season, more likely in January, because all the records go all the way through the playoffs there. So yes, the Ocean Springs, they're off, and you see Bingo had his coach's corner, I believe he calls it so last night. I didn't get a chance to watch it back with the Ocean Springs coach there. And
they had the special teams. They had tight end special teams coach there, and they had their senior Carson Green. I watched a good bit of it. So
Yeah, so we'll see what they, again, all these non-region games. That's why, to pick all these games, I'm the only one. Again, not to sound all good and mighty and all that. As far as I'm the only one that has picked all 81 games that started from the beginning. Each season is my ninth season, so to try to pick non-region games from non-coast teams or even coast teams, you just don't know what coaches are going to do. So
But you only
springs may
got a lot of
be,
times you only got 2 years. You got 2 years of starters. I mean, if you think about it,
yeah,
most kids when they hit their 11th grade year, they're going to probably be starting. So, upperclassmen, we have a very small upper class or very small senior class this year at Vankleaf. That group of boys been together a long time, and then you'll come the next year and have 19 of them. So like it's kind of hard. And like you said, you don't have like how many seniors, who's out, who's this, who's got bumps and bruises, who's playing more of a decoy because they're out there, but they're hurt. They really can't do what there's a lot of things that come along with it. But I mean, just like when you called the score for, the Hancock Vancleave game, at first they were all sitting there like, man, he's right. He's 11 points. We're right here, right at the 41. So one touchdown here and there, but making the picks and knowing like, Keys was out, not knowing that the Jones quarterback was out. There's not an injury update that scrolls across the screen like ESPN.
Correct. And it's for fun. The rankings that we do, again, I say it every week. It don't matter if you have a small number by your team or a high number by your team. It goes out there and all the games are won on the field. As far as game predictions, yes, I try to get the scores right. I changed it up last week and did the point spread and over under. This week I went back to what I think the score is going to be. I go back and look. I mean, I do a little research. I just don't throw up numbers, 5-6 or, some crazy numbers. I look and see what does the team score on the road? What did they score in the first couple of games of the season in previous seasons? So there's a little bit that goes into it because I like to be right. I hope all coast teams win there. So as we're coming up on 6 o'clock, you're going to have to leave?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Our dinner plans aren't until 7:30, so.
Okay. Because I got somebody that said that they can come on. I think it was James Spann there, the second at Moss Point. But again, tonight's games, as we hit 6 o'clock, we'll be on here maybe hopefully for another half hour. So get your questions in. I know Randy Warden had posted opinions on all classes for the coast. Well, as far as 1A Resurrection, they're 1A. They're the defending region champions. I don't believe that they're going to defend as region champions. Can they make the playoffs? I think they certainly can. They got a young quarterback. They're a very young team. They should win tonight against Salem in the game 1 of region play. As far as 3A, we have 2 teams in 3A. That is St. Patrick, who hasn't won a game this year. They're playing at Perry Central. If they can somehow win at Perry Central, they have a shot at making the playoffs, but I don't have them winning tonight. So in 3A, then you got St. Stanislaus in 3A. They're off and on so far earlier in the season. They've won and they've lost. Their record is 3-2. It'd be a very good win if they can go up to Stone, who plays at Perk at MGCCC.
It's going to be a close. I think that Stone game, they can't get their offense going. Their defense is lights out. That's definitely something. Of course, with them being in our district and stuff, I look at what they're doing, their stats. Their defense has been solid. It's just the offense just hasn't been, hasn't been rolling. And when it's not rolling, look at East Central. They're having a rough go at it. And look at Biloxi. Biloxi's offense hasn't really done a whole lot this year. So when it's hard to get know where you're trying to go when you can't score.
Yeah, well, Biloxi has, of course, a new coach, Coach Dubas from Alabama, and so maybe just taking to get his offense in there. But they got a week off now, and looking ahead slightly at next week when region play starts, I actually have them because I think they do it every year for Cruising the Coast. They play on Thursday. I want to say I have Gulfport at Biloxi next Thursday. Prime time Thursday.
I might have to go to that game.
And it's of course I'll be calling Gulf Coast football on the radio, unfortunately, or I'll be tempted to go to that game. But Gulfport at Biloxi, both teams are off this week. Both teams coming off of not so good losses last week. But I'm
definitely going to be looking for some identity going into going into district.
Yes. So just to round up, as far as the 4A, you have again Moss Point, Poplarville is favorite, but Greene County, and that's the game tonight. That's kind of a toss up for me with Greene County at Pass Christian. Pass Christian lost last week.
High-powered offenses. I think you
Yes.
didn't go that one high. That was a 50-50 burger, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
well, yeah, it was 50-50 burger, but now with the rain, I don't know. But I have Pass Christian at home, as I put in my notes or my write-up, that if I put a team where I say Pass Christian at home wins, if it was playing at Greene County, I'd probably lean toward Greene County. Greene County's offense is there. They're 1-1 on the road. Pirates 7-2 at home. The last 9 games are 2-0 this season. They've won 5 out of the last 7 home games, including playoffs. And both teams made the playoffs last year. Again, that's that 5-team division. So both teams did make the playoffs, and that it'll be said it will be a shootout. I have it 58-53 Pass Christian there, as I think they're going to be putting some points on the board. And one of the reporters, I don't know who to give credit to, I forgot, about Pass Christian in a write-up that they had lost a quarter. Again, another injury. And this other player, and forgive me, I don't know the names. Maybe some of the fans can post it, but with the Pirates, another player stepped up as far as that quarterback and has done a great job there. So I do have the Pirates winning there. Hopefully, again, they can win. I have them winning if it was played at Greene County. But Greene County is, from what I've seen of them, especially if they wear the white jerseys tonight, they'll be hard to beat. They're 4-1 and Pass Christian 3-2, but they're in the pass playing. I like Pass Christian, and again, Poplarville at Moss Point. Let me get. I'm gonna let you talk to him here for a second because let me see if I can invite somebody. So, can you
5A.
still hear?
Yes. I'm sitting here thinking about 5A because, Hattiesburg is undefeated. And Hattiesburg, I'd love to know what Hattiesburg's strength of schedule is. I haven't looked at it. But, they're beating the snot out of everybody. Hattiesburg is just absolutely just
Well,
they're a team. They're the team to beat.
Well, I believe they beat Oak Grove, but then I know Ocean Springs lost to Oak Grove, but then I don't necessarily follow Oak Grove, obviously, but I did hear that their linebacker crew is good, but they have taken a step back from where they were last year. They're still good, but I believe that's what I'm being told. Have I looked into them? No, because we don't cover the coast. But Hattiesburg, I believe, did beat Oak Grove, and of course, you're going to ask me these questions when I'm not at my headquarters and be able to hit the computer and bring it up. So I don't know exactly who they are, but I did invite. Oh, there he is. Let me see. Let me bring him in. What James Spann is going to come in here from. What Adam in here?
There he is.
There's James.
What's going on, James?
Making the predictions there for this week. I like that. I like the predictions. That I'm not going to pick. Who you picking next week? Picayune and Pascagoula. Yeah. We have to wait and see who you picked that. Yeah, you've been pecking. You've been riding the Panther train all these weeks when I've been picking against them, and then now they're going to Picayune, man. But I digress. And James Spann is with Moss Point. He's a student. He's a student reporter. We shared his video. You interviewed Coach Quincy last week as West Harrison did defeat Moss Point. But you are there at Moss Point, correct? Tonight, right now at the stadium?
I'm not at the stadium, but I'm at the school right now. So I'll probably heading in the next 10, 15 minutes.
Obviously, it's at Moss Point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because somebody, again, had posted earlier saying we should be at Poplarville, which I double-checked, and it is at Moss Point. So the first region game, the Tigers, of course, you go to that school, correct, to Moss Point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Moss Point's tied for the region lead right now. How do you think they're going to do tonight? I mean, they've been in the games early. It's just, I just think, if they believe they can get that first win, it would be an upset, obviously beating Poplarville, but they beat St. Stanislaus last year at homecoming. They played West Harrison, a little bit closer. than expected, especially early. But is it raining there? First of all, is it raining, or do you know if it's raining in that area?
Yeah, it's raining. It's light rain, not heavy rain right now. Hope it stays light so it doesn't get too heavy that people don't come. So it's light rain in the area.
And so, I mean, how do you like their chance? I mean, I know they haven't won this year, the Tigers, and you've been on several times the last few weeks, and with their coach coming in late and just trying to get the players, in the system there with the coach, and it's going to be an uphill battle against Poplarville. And just because I say they're going to lose the Tigers doesn't mean they're still going to go out there and play it on the field, and the weather may be a X factor there. Maybe it'll help the Tigers there, but they're more of a passing team, are they not? I've seen a couple of great passes from the highlights last week.
Their pass run, I think they haven't found themselves identity wise. So they're kind of both ways, but you don't know. It just depends on how they play that week. So they're kind of both. They kind of run and pass. You just don't know. It just depends how they play that week.
What do you think? What do you think would? I guess if you had to take, would it be? You think it's going to be the defense? Do you think it's going to be off? If they were to put up a game tonight and win, what do you think? Well, I mean, what do you think they would lean on? I mean, I know that's kind of an open question, but would you think that they're going to go out there and win by defense, or you think they're going to win by offense?
Offense. Yeah, it's going to take offense. So I say like this: teams like this, kind of like last week, they score, you score. If you don't score and they score, that league can get very wide. Like you could tell last couple weeks, they start 7, 14, 20, just get gradually. So if Poplarville scores, they got to score immediately back. If not, the chance to get smaller and smaller as the game continues to go.
Yeah, in fact, I saw the highlights. They scored first last week. They led the game. So
yeah.
Hey, give a shout out. Who are y'all's two all-star selections you guys had at Moss Point?
Athlete Kevon Ford, and then offensive lineman Deshaun Fizel.
Okay, both are seniors, of course.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. I just wanted to make sure I wanted to make sure to give them their shout out. So shout out to both the Moss Point players for making it. I'm very congratulatory. There was a handful of Coast kids that actually made it. So hats off to both of them for being the few that were selected.
Yes, they. Yep. In fact, I shared their graph. Somebody sent me their graphic and sent it. I posted it just the other day. So yes, the two players there from Moss Point. So even though your team hasn't won, or any team that hasn't won, their players, if they're good, and I know Ford, I shared their video. Ford, the quarterback, throwing that touchdown pass at Hancock. So when players feel we haven't won, nobody's watching us. I mean, that shows you right there. Two players, from an 0-5 team, they know talent, so they will be playing in that All-Star game. Of course, it's in December. The North-South is at Gulfport Milner Stadium, and then the Alabama, as they call it, Miss Al game, Mississippi Alabama game, will be, I want to say, at South Alabama Stadium there in December also. The first weekend of December are the state championship games. So
how – and James, you can even answer this question since we're talking about it. Did Tylen Wilson not make either roster?
I'm not mistaken. No.
It's because he's a junior. That's all seniors. My bad. I forgot that it's crazy because I keep forgetting he's a junior because he plays way above his age. But that's on me. I forgot that he's a junior. I've always thought he was a senior, and I just remind that's why, because he's a junior. He definitely will be on the roster next year.
Oh yeah,
yes, because all the All-Stars are seniors. For the fans who somewhat don't know that, to make it to the All-Star team has to be a senior. And then you see, I posted out when they said All-Star selections, and it was like
somebody called.
No, my bad. It's 2 games into the season, and they're already saying, hey, the state is saying turn in your all-star selection. So it's not, they don't look at it like what happened right now or stats up to this season, what they are. They just, they pick them early. They pick the all-stars early.
So how's that picked up? Do the coaches turn in their players?
They do. They have to be a member of the association, which I'm assuming maybe not all coaches are a member of it, but you do have to be a member of the coaches association. But they do turn in the players' names. I don't know the whole process, but I know they have
I
to
mean,
be
you
at
would
least
hope that all coaches would be a part of the coaching association if they're, if they're down here. But I mean, to not being a part of it, to give any kid that deserves, that next step up. I mean, I'm not going to be ugly, but I mean, come on, like these kids, these are dreams. That all-star selection might be the only thing. I mean, you take Moss Point, they talk about they haven't won a game, or, or they're always being picked against, but yet they put up 2 athletes because somebody put their names out there. I mean, I just don't understand it. If we're at a point in time where you can fill out a piece of paper and be a part of something to, better the lives of any student athlete, do it.
Yes, but also, Jason, like I said, they only see him for a few games. They don't know. Don't want to say that they already have predetermined what players are going to make it. I haven't talked to a coach to confirm that, but whenever they look to say, okay, all-star deadlines, I would have to go back on my timeline to see when they did it. But it was like, or because the season started late August, so I mean, it was like maybe 2 games into the season, you had to turn in your all-star or to submit all-star selection. So 2 games into the season, you're not going to see a player's, how good a player is, in 2 games or the stats of a player. And so I don't know. I don't want to go as far as it's already selected on who's going to make the team or not. So I'll have to get with a coach and see, maybe off the record, for them to find out how they are selected. But as every year, there are players that are left off. I know Titus is there. Fred Nichols, yes, he's
Fred Nicholson.
He did make the team, and I just shared
as a linebacker and a long snapper. A lot of people don't know that Fred is a phenomenal long snapper. Like he's I don't know what he's being recruited on as far as athlete or linebacker. I mean, he's a phenomenal linebacker. I've got to watch him and be a part of watching him play. When he was on 7-on-7, he's a special kid, man. He really is. But a lot of people don't know that he's a long snapper.
Oh, I didn't know. So James,
and there's an art to that.
Oh yes, it is. I mean, that's all people do in college. Sometimes just a long snapper. In the NFL, that's all they do. So, and plus, Fred, I mean, he's smart too. So,
yes, he's on the 228. He's with James and them. He's a 228 sports reporter. He does. Doesn't he report for Gaucher, James?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, I've seen him interview his own coach.
Yeah.
Coach High there with Gaucher. So just fast forward ahead to next week. Do you travel? Will you go to Bay High next week, where Moss Point goes to Bay High, or you'll stay over? Well, I say stay over to Pascagoula. They're not at Pascagoula, being Picayune. So what? Not to skip ahead to next week, but where would you go to that game next week?
I don't know. Next week's my birthday weekend, so I might switch up a little bit. Yeah, so I might switch it up a little bit next week.
There you go. So you'll be. I want to ask how old you are. At least you're in the teens, at least. I know. So, but no, you're doing a great job. Like I said, I know you wearing the 228 gear, and they do a lot, along with Bingo Media, and I try to help along there at Coast Football. Been there since 2010 when we started the page, and on Twitter since 2012. So we try to shine the light on everybody. And again, that's what we do at the Facebook page for all the fans that come to Coast Football. And again, with the Tuesday top 10, a lot of comments this past week, and they were clean comments, because I'm not going to allow you can't say a double S even on there. It will block you. So it will block your comment. So
yeah, I saw somebody the other day, they spelt it SSA.
Yeah. So that's what we don't.
That's for us dyslexic people that don't know how to spell it for the right way.
So, but that's what I try to be with the page, is to share, and parents and coaches, they send me stuff to share on the page and asking if they want credit for it or not. So it's a whole big community with all this, with the Biloxi doing their coaches show, with Bingo, doing it there at Ocean Springs, and what you do there, James. Shared your video with Coach Quincy last week. So hopefully you'll get an interview tonight. We could share with you, maybe a winning interview with Moss Point, a big upset, against Poplarville. But the odds are against you. But that's why they go out there and play the game in the field. But hopefully
Exactly.
it's not raining.
Hey, upsets are made. That's what makes football amazing. I mean, any sport, but football, Friday Night Lights. You might have put a fire under the quarterback Ford, and he might go out there and have a what's his name, Quandre? What's the one for PRC?
I'm not sure his name.
The one that had the 8 touchdowns. Yeah, he had the 8 throwing, 8 rushing. Ford's an all-star. He can go out there and probably do the same thing. You just don't know. That's the greatest thing about he might be like, I'm tired of losing. I'm gonna put this on my shoulders. Let's go out here and ball out. And it's on. And when you hit that rhythm, you hit that rhythm.
Yeah, most definitely. So, but I appreciate you joining us, James, again this week. And I didn't know if we were able to come on tonight, but we're here. And for week 6, again, I'm on the road, and Jason's off with his Van Cleve team. Again, 9 teams are off tonight. So, but I certainly appreciate you joining. Anything you want to say before we let you go and get prepared for Moss Point hosting Poplarville game 1 of region play?
You say you got Poplarville winning the region, don't you?
Yes.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a team to watch out for. Watch out for Greene County. Greene County was sitting Poplarville last year.
Oh yeah.
So I watch out for them. I think they're gonna be fighting for 1 and 2.
Yeah, he made the All-Star team. Is it King? Is that his
Kobe King.
Kobe King. I don't know what All-Star he made. I shared it. Did he make probably it was South All-Stars. I don't know if he made Mississippi.
Christian, do you know which one Kobe King made?
Either All-Star is good to make. So, but yes, Greene County, James, it wouldn't surprise me if Greene County would win. It does not. So, in fact, Greene County beat Poplarville semi-surprisingly last year late in the season, but then I believe Poplarville was already locked up the number 1 seed. Did that make a difference or not? I don't know, but I don't think Poplarville could drop in the seeding, and they did lose to Greene County last year. So, but yes, we certainly, I know Greene County is not necessarily a coast team, but they're in the region. I share their posts and information that their fans want to, have on Facebook. I'll share it on there. So would they be in the top 10 rankings? They'll be close to it. I'll tell you that they'll be close, if not in the top 10. But unfortunately, they're just a little bit further out. I did go to Greene County. I went when Rocket Charles, high school football with Miles Brennan. Dylan Favre at the time with the passing touchdowns. I went up there and sat up on top of the press box at Greene County and called that football game. So yes, it would be not a shocker if Greene County wins the region, but right now I would say Poplarville, especially to get Keys back, and they've had people step in for Keys who hasn't been there. I believe Nick Miller, that was a running back there. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's time for others to step up when others happen to go down. So, but I appreciate you joining us, James, and we'll look for your report after the game, and do tag me or on X, either way, and I'll share your score updates because again, that's what I'm going to do tonight is share the scores as I do every week, be it on X at Coast Football or on the Facebook page. So certainly appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that's James Spann the second. As we have coming up on 6:21, is Deuce playing tonight? I do not know, Titus. Again, the coach said we hope to get him back this week. He has a hamstring injury, which is very a delicate injury, and for him to come back in a non-region game, he just flipped to go to Auburn. So whatever the young man, that's his best. If that's his decision that he made, we're going to back him up wherever he goes from the coast as a coast player. So he did flip and go to Auburn. That's where he's committed at now. Could it be changed? Obviously, it could change. But, he hasn't played in a couple weeks, so actually, 2.5 games. He left early in Biloxi game.
Yep.
So, they come back and try to, again, here going against Deuce. I had his name written down from Hattiesburg. His name is also Deuce and a great quarterback up there. So, will he try to do too much and re-injure it? Heaven forbid, hopefully not. So to answer your question there, we do not know if Deuce is playing tonight or not, if he is or not. We don't know that question. But yeah,
I'm surprised somebody
Christy
hasn't said
Matthews.
something. Surprised somebody hasn't said nothing on here, being there, if they're watching the game live, if he's actually dressed out or not.
Yeah, because Bingo was on last week and he was there, and we saw Deuce in not street clothes, but in his
He was in his pre-jersey. Yeah, he's in his jersey. He wasn't in his he wasn't in his pregame attire.
Yes. So Christy Matthews, yes, we're the orphans of Greene County. They say we're the south to be we are south to be north and the north to be coast. So yes, unfortunately, we cover the 6 coastal counties mainly because the news covers the 6 coastal counties: WXXV, WLOX, the Sun Herald.
Mm-hmm.
If again, I've said it before, if they covered the 3 coastal counties, we wouldn't be covering the Pearl River. We wouldn't, because we wouldn't have necessarily information on that. We wouldn't have information on Picayune, Poplarville, PRC, Stone, or not Stone, Stone's in George County. But because the news covers the 6 coastal counties, that's what we cover, the 6. And unfortunately, Greene County is just north of there. But again,
and Laurel's one of them that are just north enough not to be in there.
Yeah. So I don't know if they don't have a page, like this. I don't know if there's a page up there or who would cover them. At one time, I searched Greene County before the season. Somebody asked me, why don't y'all post something about Greene County? And I told them what I just said. They're not part of the Coast 24, but I will certainly share information. I shared their post about game day, about the players making the All-Star, King made the All-Star team. I share it on the Facebook page. I don't mind that with Coast football. So certainly don't mind that, Christy, and appreciate the post. I'm gonna have to get my charger. I'm gonna unplug my phone.
So what's the big game tonight? What are you taking? What do you think is going to be our?
Let me.
Who needs the win tonight?
Why is my? Hold on.
See if we can get anybody to. We can see if we can get anybody to throw some stuff out here. Give us some. I wonder who Titus. What do they all think? Let's see. What do they think is going to be the big game?
Do what again? I don't know why my speaker's not. So I heard you say who needs to win tonight. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the big game. Who needs to win? I mean, I know there's only a handful of games to play tonight, but I mean they're all meaningful. I would say the district games. I mean, I know that they're all very meaningful. Poplarville and Moss Point. I think that could be a big game. If Moss Point can just get their traction, I'm telling you, they've got athletes down there. You just got to get their traction.
Yeah. Well, like I say, with the in the region games, like I say, that's what I have. Greene County and Pass Christian, it goes that you're playing. The team gets the one win against the other team. They're 1-0 against it, but it's actually a 2-game swing, a 2-game win when you beat the other team in region play.
Yes, because you get the tiebreaker plus the win.
Correct. So that's how big of it is. And in that region where there's 4 teams, that's all there. I mean, 5 teams. Excuse me, 5 teams. Poplarville, Moss Point, Greene County, Pass Christian. Well, I'm drawing a blank on the 5th team. Saints. No, I'm drawing a blank. But so yes, it's. I mean, the first 2 teams. Of course, the first seed wins the region. The second seed also gets a first-round home playoff game. The top 2 seeds get a first-round home playoff game, and then the 3rd and 4th seed get a first-round road playoff game. So that's the difference in there. Bay High, thank you. It's just again, I'm out of my headquarters, so I don't have everything. I have paperwork in front of me, but I don't have all that. But thank you, Shay. It is Bay High, who. Bay High is, what do I have Bay High at PCB, which is Presbyterian Christian. So that is a non-region game. So instead of taking a week off, they'll play tonight. That is Bay High. So As far as who needs a win tonight, I mean, it'll be nice if Poplarville, Moss Point could upset Poplarville. Again, I picked
I
Poplarville,
think so.
obviously, but it would be a major upset if Moss Point beats Poplarville. Would I be again mad if I get that pick wrong? No, I don't get mad if I get any
Coast
picks
team
wrong.
wins.
What's that?
I said as long as the coast teams win.
Yeah, well, coast against coast, so Poplarville, Moss Point, Greene County, Pass Christian, again, the region game. I lean Pass Christian at home. St. Patrick 0-5 at Perry Central. And of course, yes, Titus says, of course, with Goshen, they have their 14-game
Home winning streak.
14-game home winning streak. Yep, 14 games. It's the longest active on the coast. Columbia is 1-1 in road games. They lost a 4A state championship last year. Columbia was in the state championship game last year. Goshen was off last week. Their second home game of the season. That first game they played at a neutral field in Gulfport, and D'Iberville beat Columbia as far as that first week, and of course D'Iberville beat Goshen in that rain game in the third game of the season. So, with Goshen as far as a must-win tonight, I guess confidence level. I know, that they again non-region games, so being told that they're going to be doing something a little bit different tonight there, Jason, as far as possibly on that defensive side of the ball, that as coaches will do, hey, let's try this. Let's go for 2 points. Let's go for it on fourth down in non-region games, because it don't really matter in non-region games. So look for Goshen, like I said, to change things up, on the defensive side of the ball.
I just think that you picked Goshen to win tonight, didn't you?
I did pick Goshen winning at home 38-24.
Wow. So you're giving them a two touchdown win. Big win for Goshen tonight. So the defense has to be there. I mean, there's athletes, and I mean, you've got to have, now if you want to go shot for shot, just like James was talking about, you score, they score, you score, they score, but you drop down to that one score. Now you're sitting there feeling, oh, well, we're going tat for tat. But, I've been seeing a lot of field goals this year. Field goals win games. It might not feel like it. It might be 10-0, and you go down and kick a field goal. Well, now you're only down by a score. Well, say you go down and you kick that. I mean, and they kick another one. Now you've got basically 2 touchdowns without the extra point. So I've seen a lot of field goals this year. And not to Van Cleve's kicked a lot of field goals this year. I think that they've had more attempts. I think they had more attempts this year than they had last year for the whole season, halfway through. So I mean, it's a nice thing to be able to have somebody go down there and be able to kick a 30-yarder. Or if you're St. Stanislaus, you got kids that can kick 61-yarders.
Yeah, special teams comes into play and at every level. We see it every week. At JUCO football at Gulf Coast that I call. In fact, our kicker at Gulf Coast hasn't attempted a field goal this year, but
Really?
he's missed a few extra points. But special teams, all 3 phases, coaches will tell you. Let's win all 3 phases. As Pascagoula would, they have their game recap midweek with Coach Sims, and I believe he just said it this last week against Biloxi. All 3 phases, contributed to that win. As Pascagoula again is off, Pascagoula is going to be looking up, at Petal. Picayune goes to Petal, and then Pascagoula will play at Picayune next week in that first game there. So, I was saying George County. For the upset, they struggle against a good defensive Biloxi team. Well, again, George County, we'll see if it does make a difference if Deuce is in there or not. Their other quarterback,
that game makes a difference, but we don't know if Deuce is there. Yeah. So, we'd love to see Deuce versus Deuce. Who wouldn't want to see that? I mean, to me, that would be the game of the night, game of the week. That'd be it.
Yeah. I just hopefully he doesn't stress it too much. And if he does play, again, I'm not inside information, if he's playing or not. I predicted the score as Deuce may play. I still don't think that they win if Deuce plays. Now, again, what was your predictions on that one? I hope I'm wrong. I hope George County, wins, but the stats show Hattiesburg 5-0 at home. I have them, 42-26. Again, you can get all those pics there on Facebook that I have pinned to the top of the page at Gulf Coast High School football. And then I know Titus is saying, like I say, Gaucher, that could be for a region title. Again, a 2-game swing. That's the first game in the region. Gaucher will go to Van Cleve, and I already did the stats for next week. I haven't picked that game, but Van Cleve on a 3-game winning after they lost the first 2 games on a 3-game winning streak, I want to say, Jason. And
Yes,
then
and I mean, I'm gonna tell you, at the beginning of the season, I said 3-2 at non-district. That was my thing. The switch offs for me were George County and St. Martin.
And
So
Gaucher is 3-1.
they're right where I said. To me, they're complete. This is probably. I mean, I can't tell you the last time we had a quarterback go in there and throw, well, for 177, 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, and to have that's huge. When you think Van Cleve, Dayon Bilbo, John Peterson, Christian Johnson, I mean, they've just had nothing but stud running backs for years. But, you had Christian Kell, but then he was more of a running quarterback too. He could throw it. But this, Wyatt Adams, he's a junior. I mean, he came in, and he come off with bad shoulder with Gulfport. Gulfport put him out, and, the starting quarterback for the Hancock game, Reese Thompson, just wasn't he wasn't making the reads correctly. And Wyatt said, "It's my turn back in the saddle. I'm healthy." And I mean, he absolutely lit it up. And I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for him throwing, they were doing well. Hancock did well against the run. I mean, we didn't. They put Kyle Capers out early. So to have that ability to have a quarterback that's confident enough to go in there and throw for 200 yards, which is a lot for high school, in my opinion, as far as average. That's a big thing. And the defense, you can watch the video. It speaks for itself.
So that's going to be a game. Again, we're not looking past tonight, but Van Cleve is off, and Gaucher, that may be the game for the region. I mean, that's how, Van Cleve's playing good. They got a puncher's chance there at Van Cleve. It was in Gaucher,
You got 3 receivers and a tight end. Van Cleve's got 3 senior receivers and a senior tight end. I mean, you got 4 weapons to go to. You got Hunter Harper out of the backfield on offense. The defense has to play. And, Gaucher's given up a lot of points this year, so that might turn into one of those shootout games. I hope not. I hope it's a good game. We need solid, good games. I want both teams to play well.
But I don't think Van Cleve can afford to be in a shootout. I don't think they can win in a shootout. I think they have to keep it close.
Under control. And Coach Fant has always done that. I mean, that man has always tried to he eats that clock. He always has. Yeah. So,
and the Bulldogs trying to look for their first region title ever. Of course, they can't win it next week, but it can go a long way of having that inside track. And again, you get the tiebreaker. But we'll get to that next week. We'll enjoy tonight's game. Again, Van Cleve is off. One of 9 teams that are off tonight. Pascagoula, Gulfport, Ocean Springs, Van Cleve, Biloxi, West Harrison, East Central, St. Martin, Pearl River Central coming off that win last week, stopping that 17-game losing streak. Those teams are all off tonight. The games tonight will run over one more time before we'll hand off, as it looks to be 6:36, almost kickoff time here at the top of the hour in week number 6. So we have Bay Tigers at Presbyterian Christian, St. Stanislaus at Stone, their first home game of the season. Long Beach at South Jones, Hancock at Florence, Harrison Central at Meridian, George County at Hattiesburg. The undefeated Tigers, don't know if Deuce Knight is going to play for George County. He should play for Hattiesburg, as they have a quarterback named Deuce. Wayne County just got beat by George County, travels to D'Iberville for their homecoming, which unfortunately appears to be probably wet. But Columbia at Gaucher with their 14-game home winning streak. The Gators and the number 1 team we have ranked on the coast, Picayune, travels to Petal, who's 4-1. And Petal's
that's going to be a game.
Been playing pretty good. Like I said, they're 4-1. Petal, who Picayune leads the series 11-7. They haven't played since 2014. These two teams, Maroon Tide, those who don't know, 17-game road winning streak. They won at Ocean Springs last week. They played their first 4 games at home. The Maroon Tide did. They 17 games straight on the road.
I wonder what the
have
record
won.
is.
Again, the Panthers, this is they'll play 4 games. This is their 4th coast team they have played. They're 3-0 so far. So hopefully it'll be 3-1 after tonight. They're 2-0 at home. That is Petal. I have Picayune winning a very close game. Again, their defense is not as strong as last year, but they, could gel and get stronger, obviously, as the season goes on. But I have it 37-33 Picayune there tonight. So if it's that kind of score within one score, that's going. And you can go to the Talking Ball app. Go to the Talking Ball app, and you can listen to it. I don't know if Petal streams their games or not. Again, with me not being, at the headquarters, I won't be able to watch. I'll only be able to really watch one game on my phone, but I'll get updates. And please tag at Coastal Ball on Twitter /
we could
X.
If anybody out there knows the streams of any team, radio, YouTube, whatever, get with Matt, Bingo, whoever. Maybe we can get a list together and start posting it, because I had family that wanted to watch the Hancock game, but they were having a hard time finding it on YouTube. I guess it was Hancock School District. I know Donnie Moran they did a heck of a job. I was actually up there listening to them. They were great. I loved listening to them live. But if anybody can share with us any school, coast team at all, they can share so we can share it out to the public and help out with that, because I know they have the NFSA, but that's so hit and miss.
Yeah. Well, I tell you now, for the fans out there, do not post any kind of link on the Facebook page. For one, it will be, nobody could see it because it's going to be blocked. And then it alerts me as one of them just posted on there while we're talking, but I'm not getting off the stream, but it will be automatically blocked. You cannot post a stream on my page, on the page itself, and then I go and I block that person because a lot of it's not a real person. So yes, if you want to DM me, or I can, because I know there's a lot of coast teams that stream games, from Ocean Springs, Pascagoula. Hancock does home games, D'Iberville on Facebook, Stone on Facebook, and I try to share those on the Facebook page. I just share them, that's where I watch them at. So there's starting to be more, and hopefully in the near future, maybe Vancleave will, as I think you
definitely going to start working on it.
Gaucher, I wish Gaucher would do theirs. They don't do theirs, but so anyways, 13 games tonight. You guys enjoy the games. I know if your teams are off, to get out there and watch a game. If you're not already there, as it's 6:40, 20 minutes away, and of course the weather's not the greatest, but hey, it's football Friday night under the lights. We shall see if we're going to do a post-game show. I guess we got to check and see if we will or not. I guess, hopefully we will. If not, I certainly will post the stats and the score updates on the Facebook page. So I know it's a little bit different for you, Jason. You're not at the stadium.
I will not be like this when you're doing the post-game.
And enjoy the evening off. So I appreciate all.
Definitely will. Going to go celebrate my wife's birthday tonight and go have dinner with some friends and then go out. So definitely looking forward to that. Happy birthday to the boss lady.
Yep. And appreciate everybody watching live and on replay. But a lot's coming tonight with the final, and as I do every week. And appreciate the fans tuning in tonight, and then tomorrow will carry over with the highlights. And so enjoy it. This is the last week pretty much. There will still be some non-region games, but for the most part, all of them will be region games. Everybody's tied for first in those games tonight. Again, the 4A, 3A, and 1A, everybody's tied for first, and we'll see how it plays off tonight. So appreciate it, Jason, for joining us for the pregame show. And everybody be safe out there. And we're fixing to end it here now. So thank you, Jason.
Y'all be good tonight.
All right, dude.